Shotguns and shotguns.
First of all, I want to introduce myself to you, those of you who may not know me. My name is Asantewaa Nzingha. I'm an actress, an educator. I lecture and I do a lot of activist work and a lot of work these days with our political prisoners who have been locked up behind the bars, some of them whew, as much as 50 years. My topic, which is drinking the Kool-Aid of deception. But the first thing I want to do is I want to put a disclaimer on myself because I have one of my younger people that I try to roll with the youth as often as I can, but I have one of my younger youth with me, Natasha Robert, who if anything goes wrong, blame Natasha. Do not blame me because I have no idea how to move all this stuff around. And I do have quite a few videos that I will be showing you. So I just want to throw a thank you out there to Natasha. So Natasha, if you can throw the first slide up for me, please. I want to first say just how happy I am to be part of 100 years in the whirlwind. What just did is like, cause you know, I even put this on my Facebook page as I quote Marcus Garvey, look for me in the whirlwind or the storm. Look for me all around you, for with God's grace I shall come and bring with me countless millions of Black slaves who have died in America and the West Indies, and the millions in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. So I'm paying honor through all of this to the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I want to talk to you about how I came up with the topic, drinking the Kool-Aid of deception, the impact of complex messages derived from negative media representations on the African mind. There are two very close things. My firing, when I was fired from the public school system for teaching African youth that they are African. So I want to talk about that a little bit because I think that will give you an idea on why I feel that this topic matter, drinking the Kool-Aid of deception, is so important. I taught at a school called Junior High School 113 in Brooklyn, New York. The principal of that school at that time was Catherine Corbett, who, along with Dr. Lester Young, waged quite a war against me. But let me give you the incident on what made me also name this drinking the Kool-Aid of deception. I was a theater teacher in a junior high school there. And as you do when you're in theater, you have to leave and do shows. So I had a matinee at a theater called the Billie Holiday Theater here in Brooklyn, New York. So when I left to do the show, they hired, or they brought in the English teacher. His name was Mr. Levine, and they brought him in to teach my class. So Mr. Levine came in, and he asked one of my students, his name was Curtis Lee, kudos to Curtis Lee. He asked one of my students, he said, look, this is an acting class, so I need you to do a skit. I need you to go pretend like you're going to the corner store. And what I need you to do is steal a lot of candy and popcorn and cookies and soda and bring it back and give it to the girls. And the girls, he gave them the instructions. Now what you're gonna do, you're gonna be all thrilled and in love with this boy because he came back and he gave you candy and cookies. Well, look, one of my girls, and her name is Letitia Page, and these are all adults now because this happened 20 years ago. These are all adults now. She told him that as the girls, we're not interested in him giving us, the boys giving us cookies and candies. And the boys said yes, because Miss Nzingha taught us that that was America's standards for Black men and women, and that we're Africans and we will not be your thieves. Well, that started a ball to rolling. I mean, it rolled faster and harder than a snowball and collected more debris as it rolled along. So this white male teacher said that that was teaching, to teach these children that they were Africans rather than Americans, was teaching them low self-esteem. And he had set out to have my job. Now, I'm going to be very honest. I was naive about that because I did not believe that that was going to happen. So he wrote the principal quite a long letter, and he explained to her that I was teaching the children low self-esteem by telling them that they were Africans, not Americans. Because he never told them how it came up. So a big teachers meeting was called. And when that teachers meeting was called, we found out then, when we said, well, how did it even come up? And he said, well, it came up, I'm not sure. And one of the boys that was there, he says, well, I'll tell you how it came up. So he told the story how he would not go to the grocery store. He would not pretend like he was stealing anything. And that Mr. Gabine became upset because he said that to not do the skit and to say that they couldn't do it because of America's standards for them was teaching them low self-esteem. And at the end of the day, a lot went on. It's a lot in articles. You can go on the internet and find it. But I ended up losing my job. I say that to you to get you to understand the importance of what happened. Now, during my my stay at that particular school, I was in my 9th year at that time, I did everything. I taught them the Pledge of Allegiance, leaving out, they would do a skit called I Pledge Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God with liberty and they would stop there and they say, and justice for some, not them. No problem with that. They were able to do that on stage. We would do Malcolm's, America has taught us to hate ourselves. America has taught me to hate my nose. America has taught me to hate my eyes. America has taught me to hate my hair. America has taught me to hate my mouth. America has taught us to hate ourselves. No problem. No problem whatsoever. What was the difference between, and then they'd start off with the American flag, they'd throw it off the stage, and they would come back with the red, black, and green. No problem. Here's where the problem came in. When those very kids refused and they showed their power, see, they were just doing a performance and everybody thought, oh, look at them. They're so cute. They're talking about Malcolm, da, 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 da. But what happened was when that Black child told that white Jewish man, well, any white man, that he would not be their thief. And why? Because he said, I am an African. They had to do something with me. They eventually took me through the ropes. They fired me. They also fired Gorestine Gomes, who was the union rep. So I'm telling you, I just want you to understand the seriousness of the media. And when they can't get actors to play these negative roles, they're coming after whoever is instilling this. And I knew it was important for me to instill in my students at that young age not to drink the Kool-Aid of deception. Now, this isn't just started. There was a film that some of you may be familiar with. It's called Birth of a Nation. It's called Birth of a Nation. And it talks about, it's a very negative film. And it made more money than a lot of films made in Hollywood. But before I go into that, I just want to give you a couple of quotes that will support what I was just saying about my students and the importance of not giving the media the control. I have two quotes here, very similar, one by Jim Morrison and one by our beloved Dr. Leonard Jeffries, where Jim Morrison is a white man and he understands it. Whoever controls the media controls the mind. Now, white folks understand that because they control the media. Dr. Leonard Jeffries said, whoever controls the images controls your self-esteem, your division. I also want to just give you a couple other quotes. Malcolm says, the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. And now that's power because they control the minds of the masses. And I'm sure many of you have heard, they have the power to make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. And the media is used for that. And I want to just like with this last quote, and there are some, this is an Ethiopian proverb. A fool and water will go the way they are directed. Again, a fool and water will go the way they are directed. And so many of us do not understand the effect that the media and film have on who we think we are. You know, I've taught children that thought that they were thugs and crooks and all of that, because that's who the media told them they were. And they didn't think they were above that on any level. And that's oftentimes what we think that we should be. Let me go on to, I want you to watch this scene from Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation came out in 1915. And what Birth of a Nation dealt with is the Reconstruction after the Civil War. But they used white men in blackface movie. This movie made $50 to $100 million. It's a silent film. And this movie is when Hollywood began to become the Hollywood it is. And this is the Hollywood that showed negative images of us, even though they used Black men in white face. They also said clearly they wouldn't have used a Black man if they could, because there are sexual scenes with white women who didn't want to be touched by nobody Black. So, but this film is known as the film that made Hollywood come alive. Let's take a look at it, or a segment of it. Okay. So that movie caused quite an uproar. It was shown in Hollywood. Then it was shown in, it was a showing of it here in New York back in 1915 also. Was $2 to get in the movie. But you can read reviews of that movie now that will praise it. And it praises, the movie itself praises the Ku Klux Klan. And you showed where they showed that movie in the White House. I mean, this movie was big stuff to the point that as I was growing up and getting involved in like nothing like that goes on today. Like there's no buffoonery going on today. But again, when you drink the Kool-Aid of deception, you believe that some of that is okay because you think, give me the money. And then I've heard actors say, well, you know, I'm going to take that money from playing that negative role and I'm going to open a school, or I'm going to have a community center, or I'm going to work with the youth. The problem with these roles is you can't undo the damage that was done by. Not even so much that, but when we have the drug dealer roles out there now, where people want to be drug dealers, women want to be pimps, we want to be like these rich, flowery girls that don't care about community, because all these movies are out here. But I want to show you a movie called The Good Burger that some of you may have seen before. And The Good Burger was made in the late 1990s. It wasn't no 1918. These actors had a choice. So let's see if the buffoonery really disappeared.
Hey, Alfalfa, would you please take my order?
Ooh, sorry, no can do. I'm the drive-thru guy. You need the counter guy. Hey, where's Ed? Ed!
Ed! Morning, girls! Sorry! Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? Woo! Oh, man.
You have messed up my afro.
Why? Strawberry jacuzzi,
Just give me a good shake.
Really?
Mondo Burger is going to be the biggest burger chain on this planet. You guys are grass.
Dude, you need a Tic Tac.
Ed, run!
Get him! You're messing with the wrong brother now! Ah! 4! Your turn.
You're not like other people, are you?
Could you kindly point us in the direction of the little girl's room?
Better watch your butt, man.
Okay.
Why? I give up. There is no way a guy can watch his own butt. Y'all ready for this? Can I take your order?
Okay, so this isn't a movie that was made back in 1915. That movie was made in the late 1990s. We have movies like that today. Let me go to Tyler Perry and made the kind of, he could not have made the kind of money that he made if people didn't go see Medea. And believe me, it was not his white audiences that made Medea such a big hit. And I remember listening to him, because Tyler Perry makes no apologies about it, because he became extremely rich from the Medea character. But I remember listening to him, I don't know if it was on Oprah show or one of the talk shows, and he talked about how Medea was You know, he based it on his family, on people in his community. Listen, Medea is a woman. And we have to stop accepting Medea as being our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts, our ancestors, our female elders. Because here's the deal. My mother did not have a penis. Medea does. My aunt did not have a penis. Medea does. My grandmother did not have a penis. But Medea does. So when you start saying that Medea represents Black women in our community, it is the biggest insult. And when you decide you're going to go to the movies and watch it, it's also a big insult. Now, I know that Tyler Perry has been trying to do some different kind of movies, but he got rich off of Medea. And he can always go back to Medea. Now, Tyler Perry has his own studio, big studio, where he can produce whatever he wants. So it's time to put pressure on Tyler Perry to produce something of significance. Now, Tyler Perry isn't the only director and producer. We have other ones. That Scandal, that Chandra, Scandal, where we have a Black woman whose morals are so low that number one, she's with a white man, but number two, he's a married man with family. And people ran to watch Scandal. I watched our people do that and not be insulted by it by any means. That's when you drink the Kool-Aid of deception. When you can sit and watch that and not say, this woman has no moral characters. One, she has left the race and fallen in love with somebody else. And two, she don't care nothing about family or anything else, nor hers. So that's one of the things. So I want you to notice that we haven't come far in filmmaking since 1915, and Hollywood continues to make those kind of films because we go to them. Listen, all Hollywood cares about is making money, and they don't care who they degrade. Now, there's some races that won't let you degrade them. They say no, but those people really control Hollywood. So they care about making money. We have to care about them making money off of us. That's one of the reasons I lost my job, because I taught those children, do not take on these negative roles. Do not, because to do them, they should have to put white people back in blackface, because none of us will take on the role. But we do have actors. We do have actors who won't do it. Esther Roll, I had the good fortune of traveling with her doing Raisin in the Sun, where I understudied Ruth and Benita. But Esther will not take negative roles. So I want you to just look at what Esther Roll has to say.
If I feel it's denigrating, I won't do it.
Monty began to develop Monty's The Black Family script, but they soon reached a creative impasse.
One note that I got every meeting was, you got to get rid of the father. Black man is not funny in a sitcom. And I was in a no, we got to have the father.
Despite some misgivings, Leah took the script to Esther Roll. The actress agreed to star in The Black Family under one condition. The father had to stay in the script.
I introduced the black father to this country. There never had been one in the whole of the country. And I risked my job by saying I won't do it unless you give me a husband for my children.
One episode of when she talks about Hollywood.
Here's a 1982 Detroit Black Journal interview with actress Esther Roll about being black in Hollywood.
I came out there in about 73, and that was just after and during the explosion of black films. So there was from the stage to do a specific job, the Maud show. I've never run around Hollywood looking for work because I'm a sensitive person, and it has, for me, it brings back the auction block.
I just wanted to get name recognition and some of that lights, cameras, action.
My goal was not stardom. My goal was not Hollywood. My goal was a good actress.
So I was fortunate enough, as I said earlier, to travel with Esther Roll, and I enjoyed her so much to just listen to her. And one time we were in Baltimore doing Raisin in the Sun, and she had an invitation to go to a school. And I accompanied her there. I went to the school with her. And the kids asked her, they wanted to know, well, what happened? We haven't seen you since JJ. And she explained to them, if I was willing to take negative roles, if I was willing to be the madame or the running the house of prostitution, you would see me. But I'm not willing to do that. In so many words, she's telling him, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid of deception. Because in all honesty, in the long run, it would kill you. But we have other actors like Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee. They didn't drink the Kool-Aid of deception either. So I'm around a lot of young. They'll say to me, yeah, but you know, we have to do that in order to be successful. And I'm like, no, you don't. And I point out actors who don't do it, who haven't done it, who won't do it. And as Esther says, you're gonna, there's a price you're gonna pay. There's a price you're going to pay. No, you're not going to get the roles. Hollywood is going to say, how dare you tell me you will not do degrading roles when that's what Hollywood is based on? How dare you do that? And they will blackball you. There's history of it happening. They will blackball you. You will not get the role, but you have to ask yourself, what is the price of selling out? I remembered one time someone asked me, what if you had a role and what if you had a role that was degrading, but you needed the money for surgery for your mother? And I took it to my mom and I said, Mom, I said, do you think it would be okay for me to take a degrading role if you were having surgery or you were sick and I needed the money for that? My mother looked me straight in my face and she said, don't you ever use me as your excuse to do something wrong. And that's what we have to stop doing, is saying that we're drinking the Kool-Aid of deception because we need the money for this and we need the money for that. We have to have faith in our ancestors, in whatever God you pray to, that they will bring you through, and that you do not have to degrade your people and put them in a negative light to get that done. Now, one of the things that Can I go on? One of the things that I have my good assistant here letting me know when the screen is freezing because it doesn't freeze on mine. One of the things that I really have big problems with is the interracial dating that's being put in our faces at this time. Oh, I know what I do want to do. I want to go back just one time because I do want to bring up something that has to do with empire. So I'm gonna get to the interracial dating in a minute. But let's show this. Let's show this piece from Taraji.
Here are the nominees for Best Actress in a TV Series Drama.
And pay close attention to what Taraji
Katrina
said.
Balfe, Outlander.
Viola Davis, How to Get Away with Murder.
Eva Green, Penny Dreadful.
Taraji P. Henson, Empire.
Robin Wright, House of Cards.
And the Golden Globe goes to Taraji P. Henson.
This is Taraji P. Henson's first. Empire.
For the ladies got a thing for the hot king.
Okay, if you haven't, get off my train. Cookies for everyone tonight. My treat. Hollywood Foreign Press. Thank you. I mean, who knew that playing an ex-convict would take me all around the globe? It just goes to show. I thought it would be Queenie. Will, I thought it would be my character from, Karate Kid, but it's Cookie, who spent 17 years in jail for selling crack. Okay! So the world loves real. Thank you. So many people to thank. My manager, Vincent Sorrentione, you've been with me for this entire, rap. Wait a minute. I've waited 20 years for this. You're gonna wait. Yeah, you're gonna give me a little more time. I think, yeah, my fans, they've been praying for this. They're all on Twitter like, yeah, hope you get it. You gotta give me time. My family, Fox, Dana Walden, and Gary, you're here. Thank you for believing in the show. Danny Strong, Lee Daniels, thank you for believing in me. Senna Hamry is here. I've worked with her before on another movie, but she's a producer on the show. Francie is here. Eileen is here. I love you. My cast, my beautiful boys that play my son, Trey is here. Yaz is here. Jussie Smollett. I'm nothing without the cast and crew. I'm taking this home for the entire empire. Terrence Howard, I'm nothing without you. Cookie is nothing without Lucius. I love you. Thank you so much.
I will never forget the first episode. I tuned in to watch Empire. There was every stereotype. It looked like somebody just wrote down stereotypes and said, let's make sure that we put these stereotypes in Empire. But what's important to pay attention to is when Taraji received her award, she understood that she received it for negativity. She came up and she said, I've done this film. I've played Queen in this film. I've done this in this film. I've done that in film. But y'all give me the award for playing an ex-convict who spent 17 years in jail for selling crack. And then she followed that with, well, the world is real. People love it. The world is real. Now, what does she? That she says the world is real. Yeah, this is what I'm going to be awarded for. So I'm just going to accept this trash. And this is real. And all the great work I've done in something else, the world is real, meaning that, yeah, we are your crack dealers that spend 17 years in prison. Empire became one of the greatest TV shows in history. Empire. Why? Because it was supported. Why were they able to get that many actors to do what some of those actors did on Empire? Because they drank the Kool-Aid of deception. Now, do people argue with me back and forth like, well, that's just my opinion? It is, but I am so happy that this is what my opinion is, that I will never want to get up and accept an award for playing a crackhead. And we know we have Halle Berry for Monsters Ball. Oh yeah, they gave her an award for that. We had Denzel, I can't even remember the name of the police movie that Denzel did with Training Day. We had Denzel for Training Day, and we applaud that. We applaud that. But when you look at some of the things, after you know that that's acceptable to your people, I look at the roles that Taraji did. If you have not watched Coffee and Cream, it's a disgusting movie, but I suggest if you don't know what's going on, what the propaganda is, then you will start drinking the Kool-Aid of deception also. So you have to go in there. People will say to me, you went to see that. I said, I cannot critique something I haven't seen. I could not get over Coffee and Cream. And that's where we're going. And someone said to me, one of my ex-students, I just can't believe Taraji did it. I said, why? Taraji found out from Empire where the money was, and that this is what she's going to do. This is what she's doing. And I'm hoping that at some point she doesn't. I want to give kudos to Viola Davis, because she at least came out and said that she regrets the role that she did in the Help. Not because she had a problem. Many of our ancestors were maids. They did what they had to do as maids. But what she said was, when she took it and she looked back on it, that the credit didn't give to them for being able to stand up against the racism and what they had to say. It went to a white woman who so often are our heroes in our films. We just have we as a people have a tendency to just accept anything as okay. Let me give you an example. Let's do Harriet. Wow, did we drink the Kool-Aid of deception for poor Harriet? I want somebody to explain to me who was the vicious Black man that went after Harriet, that had no problem. Where did this Black man come from? I decided, let me do some research. There was no Black bounty hunter going after Harriet. Now, people who wanted to defend it was like, oh, Nzingha, but there were bounty hunters. There were very few Black bounty hunters. And even if there were, there's no place that somebody can show me where this Black man went after Harriet. So why was it important for him to be there? The degradation of the Black man had to come in there someplace. They made him worse than the white master, than the white slave owner, and the people that defended that. So they say things to me like, well, Nzingha, we have to be able to, you know, accept these movies. No, we don't. See, I explain it like this. Sometimes if you had a bowl of spaghetti and you loved spaghetti with shrimp on top of it, and you out at a picnic and a bird comes along and he poo-poos, shits on your spaghetti, would you eat it? So we have this thing that if they give us a Harriet Tubman, oh, they can shit on the movie by saying, we're gonna make a Black man really negative. And we eat it. We eat it. Another movie, Black Panther. Here we got a movie with beautiful costumes, beautiful Black people, beautiful Africans in it, except for they have a scene that they say, okay, we're gonna let you know, no matter how much you have, you are still dedicated to the white man. So they give us a scene in Black Panther where the white man comes, and not only do they say in the movie, he is the colonizer, that this man is the colonizer, but then they take the colonizer and they show them all their secrets and they show them their planes and their instruments and they have him drive it. But yet, see, it was important for her to call him the colonizer. And everybody in the movie, you just said that he's the person that lynches and hangs and colonizes and kills your people and takes over your land. The audience is clapping because she called him the colonizer. No, you drank the Kool-Aid of deception. Now you need to just stop doing that. You drank the Kool-Aid of deception, okay? Understand that. So we have to stop allowing them to just slip something in on us, make us think that it's good, like that plate of spaghetti with shrimp on top. Go in there and shit on top of it. And then we eat it anyway, because we have drank the Kool-Aid of deception. Now I'm gonna give you one more example, and then I'm gonna move on to this black-white thing.
Because go ahead.
Okay. When she was at this big festival, I can't remember the name of it, and she was one of the few, if only Black professionals, and it was going along, and she went out and she got Black youth from different historical Black universities, and everybody was praising her for that, and I was like, okay, you know, she's giving some play to them until she has them sing the Black national anthem, till she gets to a part where she has these girls with her and she has them repeat the words of a song that I think she had made for Jay-Z, where all of a sudden you see all of these college girls, our Black female college girls, and they're singing along with her. Are we clear? I have to say that's what it was. That she had these girls stomp, boom, and then suck on my balls, bitch. And nobody complained about it. I talked to someone about it and they told me straight up. Am I on? They told me straight up. Yeah, but so much of it was good. Well, see, now we got the plate again where the bird has poo-pooed on the plate and we're willing to eat it with the shit on it. No, I'm not saying that you have to dislike everything that Beyonce says, but you know, Beyonce's not our queen bee. Our queens are Nzingha. Our queens are Hatshepsut. Our queens are Asantewaa. These are our queens. And we need to stop. Somebody needs to call her on that. That you had these girls literally say that. I don't know. Jennifer Lopez did the pole down. I said, but she didn't have a bunch of Latinos climbing the pole, yelling down, suck on my balls, bitch. She didn't do it. I don't know anyone that gathered together a group of Black college girls and had them do that. Because what, you were mad at JC? Well, you weren't mad enough to leave his butt because you still with him, okay? So we have to hold people accountable. We can't just say, well, they did this good, and we're going to close our eyes to the negativity that they bring, because then we're drinking the Kool-Aid of deception. Now, let me get on to what they're doing to us now with interracial dating. College, not college, but I'm thinking of her, but with the interracial dating, and we have to be so careful, because every time you turn on TV, there's a Black man with a white woman, or it's not just about, oh, America is now, you know, we can love who we love and it don't matter. Yes, it does, because they're trying to weed out a race of people. I call it the Halle Berry syndrome. Halle had a Black daddy, a white mama. Then Halle goes from Black daddy and white mama, and then she marries a white man. Now she's got a daughter. Now, if that girl marries somebody white, we're breeding out the Black side of Halle. Now, I know everybody says, well, if you got 1% Black, you Black. Oh, come on. Come on, let's get serious. And yes, it may show up 5 generations down or whatever, but right now, you're breeding out a family. When you marry white, then you have that child who, of course, they look around and go, well, if it's a boy, my mama's white, so why can't I have a white woman? My daddy's white, so why can't I have a white man? So I want you to just look at some of these commercials that are out there now. Can I have that first screen up? Okay, I'm gonna throw on my glasses and I'm gonna read this to you. When people are exposed to an agenda on a daily basis, they become accustomed to it and are influenced to support it if they are made to believe that they are doing the right thing. It stays in their subconscious mind and sometimes influences their decisions later in life. This is called subliminal propaganda. The only 2 people who it won't affect are the ones who created it and the ones who are aware of it and know the intention of why, it was created. Commercials are one of the most common ways propaganda is used. They are selling much more than their product. Let me say that again. They are selling much more than their product. One of the things they are selling is the encouragement to race mix. However, if they are not trying to mix whites with Asians or Hispanics with Blacks, their main focus is specifically mixing whites with Blacks. There have been over 27 commercials in the US promoting this in 2015 alone. Now think about how many more are out there in 2020. The messages are sometimes subtle and sometimes obvious. Take note of the undertones and see for yourself what you, your family, and the young, naive target demographic are being exposed to every day. Let's look at some of these commercials.
She likes clothes. I do like clothes.
They got a good selection.
At Burlington, you get all those same great brands, and they're a lot less. I like this one. Yay! You guys look awesome. Let me see. Ooh.
I had a love-hate relationship with Philly, but now with the Philly cheesesteak on a burger, I get all the love and hold the hate.
The Philly cheesesteak burger on a fresh baked bun at Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Come on, get open.
The good more is always watching your favorite players with NFL Mobile on Verizon.
Get in there. Go, 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 get. Let's go, Drew.
The not so good more would be them always watching you.
Go for it, Paul.
When you only have one hand, you're not doing anything as fast as you used to. Which is funny because I still do it better than her.
You know, I don't think I was meant to sweep. It's a little frustrating. Look.
I can't help out as much as I used to.
Do you need help?
Let's open it up.
It's a Swiffer sweeper.
Swiffer dusters. And I can extend so I don't have to get on the step stool. I don't know how it stays on there. It's like a dirt magnet, just like my kids.
This is a danger zone. That is crazy.
Yeah, no, this definitely beats it.
I'd get a deal for tonight with Deals for Tonight from Hotels.com. And you might want to get that pipe fixed.
It was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the
Egyptian cotton towels.
Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York.
Visit TripAdvisor New York.
The following is based on a true feeling.
Pretty nice, right?
What makes us wholesome never will.
It's just a buck at McDonald's.
I love making the kind of food you'll feel really good about putting in your body. I know what you're thinking. This is new and improved. I can't believe it's not butter. 100% taste, 0% artificial preservatives. Made with a blend of delicious oil, purified water, and just a pinch of salt.
2, please. And spread on some extra.
I'm here.
Okay, and there it is. And any of you that can sit and watch those commercials and don't think that there's anything wrong with them, you have drank the Kool-Aid of deception. Well, this isn't about joining you up with some white boy because they just think now in America that you're supposed to be with a white boy. Listen, this is race breeding. This is
Continue.
Yeah, okay. With the Aborigines in Australia, and that's where race breeding has gone on there. Race breeding has gone on in Jamaica. Race breeding is going on. They don't know what else to do now. They really don't. In America, they can't stop Black women from having babies, but now what they've decided is, let's make sure that Black women see white men. I mean, come on, we have Serena. We have that Marco girl. We have, I can't even think of all of them, but there's, you know, all the women that are out there now with white men and they're throwing it up in our faces. We're, you know, there's so many ways that I can go into it, but I'm not going to waste so much time on them with their white men. But I want, some of you may have heard of a movie called Rabbit Proof Fence. Another one, if you haven't watched Rabbit Proof Fence, watch it. Almost like, you know, you take those people and you start breeding them and breeding them and breeding them, and you can start breeding out a race. So let's take a look at this is a true story. Well, this is based on a true story. That's something that we have to talk about, but this is based on a true story. So let's take a look at it.
Notice, if you will, the half-caste child. And there are ever-increasing numbers of them. Now, what is to happen to them? Are we to allow the creation of an unwanted third race? Should the coloreds be encouraged to go back to the black? Or should they be advanced to white status and be absorbed in the white population? Now, time and again, I am asked by some white man, if I marry this colored person, will our children be black? And as Chief Protector of Aborigines, it is my responsibility to accept or reject those marriages. Here is the answer. 3 generations. Now, as you can see, in the 3rd generation, or 3rd cross, no trace of native origin is apparent. The continuing infiltration of white blood finally stamps out the black color. The Aboriginal has simply been bred out. Now, we come to the Moore River Native Settlement. Ladies, most of you are familiar with our work here, the training of domestic servants and farm laborers. I would like to thank you for your continuing support. Hundreds of half-caste children have been gathered up and brought here to be given the benefit of everything our culture has to offer. For if we are to fit and train such children for the future, they cannot be left as they are. And in spite of himself, the native must be helped.
Okay, I wanted you to watch that because that's what's happening to us today. And I think one of the most interesting things is that he says those children that come from black-white relationships cannot be left as they are. You've got to breed them out. And that is what's happening. That's why you have to take a look at it. You have to say, you cannot walk around being happy when your son or your daughter marries a white man or a white woman, and that's the person that they're going to have children with, and then those children, not saying they all do, but those children then turn around and marry somebody white, and then their children marry somebody white, and look what's happening. We breed a race of people out. So pay attention to that. Don't be so receptive of your black friends with their little white husbands and vice versa. A Q&A. Could you put, okay, can I do the, do you have the Marcus Garvey comment before then, or do we even have it? Okay, Marcus Garvey, I started with a quote by him, and I want to go towards the end with him. He said, among some of the methods used to control the world is organize the thing and call of the world is organize the thing and called propaganda. Propaganda has done more to defeat the good intentions of races and nations than even open warfare. Propaganda is a method or medium used by organized people to convert others against their will. We as the Negro race are suffering more than any other race in the world from propaganda. Propaganda to destroy our hopes, our ambitions, and our confidence in self. So that is one of the things that I want us to pay attention to, is the propaganda that's out there, and what propaganda is doing to us, and what propaganda is doing to our mind. I have so many people who don't think that there's anything wrong with some of the movies that are out there. And they will say that people know that they're not true. Well, now do they? Because many people will go watch a so-called movie based on, think it's a historical movie, and walk away thinking that it's true. Can I have the next quote, please? Okay. This is one of my most beloved quotes by the late Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She says, we are the only people on this entire planet who have been taught to sing and praise our demeanor. I'm a bitch. I'm a hoe. I'm a gangster. I'm a thug. I'm a dog. If you can train people to demean and degrade themselves, you can oppress them forever. You can even program them to kill themselves, and they won't even understand what happened. You can even program them to kill themselves, and they won't even understand what happened. It's like Dr. John Henry Clark has one of my favorite quotes, where he says, the oppressor is not going to teach the people he oppressed how to take power away. I often say that to our people when they send their kids to school and not even follow up and know that they're going to be taught by the oppressor. There is no way that the oppressor, white folks, is going to teach your Black child how to take his white child's power away. It doesn't make sense. Reverse it. If your child has all the power, there is no way you're going to teach your child, somebody else's child, how to take your power away. So get over it. When you start talking about, oh, I'm sending my kid to Yale and Princeton and all these different schools, and they're going to private schools that's not dealing with it. Drinking the Kool-Aid of deception. I want to end my part on one quote. And this quote was made by Sandy Newton. And I think for some reason, I think she's South African, or maybe she's from London. I'm not sure. But she wasn't born. She's not from here in the States. She said, I know the nature of this business has made me play roles that I'm embarrassed I played. It's had me misrepresent African Americans because I didn't know. I have not been of a great service in my career. I guess it's been of a service in one respect because there's a person of color in the movie. But that can do more harm than good. Let's face it. Anyway, sorry, God. For us not to be caught in the Kool-Aid of deception, we really, more of us have to say, sorry, God. Sorry, ancestors. Own up to the part that we have played in keeping the myth going about actors take roles. They don't care how degrading they are as long as they have the money, and make excuses. Make excuses for what they're going to do with that money. It's like when I walk down the street and I see all the drug addicts left over from the 70s, and I hear people praise Jay-Z. And I said, but many of our people did drugs under him. And I do remember an interview with him that I have to give him credit. He said to the interviewer, hey, I made my money off somebody else's pain. Ain't nothing I can do about it now. And I don't think he added there ain't nothing I can do about it now, but he said, you can find that interview. I made my money off somebody else's pain. We have to stop as a people, allowing people to get rich off our pain, allowing actors to do degrading roles that we run out to the movies and we watch, allowing a broadcast to come on the air, allowing songs to start having a voice and using that voice. Because believe me, as we said at the beginning, whoever controls the image and the media controls the mind. Let's go to some Q&A.
Mama, there weren't many questions in the chat, or a lot of comments, but not many questions. But I have
okay.
Have you ever by chance had an opportunity to see the movie Quiet Storm, Ready for Revolution out of the UK?
No, I haven't. It's something that I should put on my list?
Yes, ma'am. It is about these brothers who actually went to a Pan-African conference. They met there, and
really?
Yes, ma'am. And they basically used their knowledge and expertise they gained basically in their different crafts to basically develop a highly trained, effective guerrilla army. And what they do is they infiltrate like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Kissingers, and they assassinate all these high-level power wielders, so to speak. And at the end of the movie, they basically launch their attack on, I guess, the highest echelon of European power holders, and they end up committing revolutionary suicide. They end up distributing resources, funneling them to, different African countries and different things like that. But it's a very, very beautiful film because what it does, it begins actually with the death scene. And what I mean is you see them actually being welcomed into the Oboson or the Gungun. And it's a very beautiful film. When the director, I can't remember his name right now, but basically when he put the film out, I think it was maybe late 90s, early 2000s, very, very early 2000s. But he ended up being banned, and he hasn't made a film since. Sort of like the director of Sankofa.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen that film, and I very respond to.
What I'll do, I'm sorry. What I'll, Mama, y'all, I'll send that film to you in the Google Drive. I have it.
Please do. Thank you. There's a comment here that says, "Why do you think Black people refuse to turn off the TV?" One is economics. I understand clearly that, first thing people will say is, well, we go out and we buy sneakers. It's a cheap form of entertainment. Let's say that they did want to go to Broadway, and that's not saying that Broadway, but let's say they wanted to go see an August Wilson play, and there's tickets that are $100. It's a cheap form of entertainment. Many parents use TV as a form to an instrument to babysit. They sit their child in front of the TV and turn on the racist Disney stations and have their child do that. But I think a lot of it is that they grew up on it. Their mothers set them in front of the TV. They're still in front of the TV. And it's a lot of what we do comes with economics. What is cheap? What we don't have the money to send our kids out to do, take tennis lessons or some other kind of lessons, or attend this program or that program. A lot of them don't even have the money to send them to programs that are started and run by us. I know I taught at Sankofa International Academy, and there were so many times that we, didn't get paid what we should be paid because the parents didn't have the money, or that's not where they saw the value or the interest in an educational system.
Thank you so much for that answer, Mama Ya Asantewaa. I think one of the things that you just I'm an educator, been for the last.
You know what? I think that some of these, I love where somebody said, some Black people think Wakanda is a country in Africa. And that's the sad stuff, because we want a Wakanda, a Wakanda so bad that this is what you have to remember, that I believe that was a Disney film, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, they do. They think that Wakanda is a country in Africa. And like when people were saying, well, what kind of accents did it have? Or someone said they didn't have an African accent. Well, listen, they probably had the accent that's used in Wakanda. So yeah, somebody was saying here, what's the name? 100%. Well, you know what? Let me roll. Can you scroll this down to something for me? Let me look at some of these.
Mama Ya, I think Mr. M.K. McIndow had a comment he was trying to make.
Oh, where is that? Where? Okay, I see. Is that the one, why do you think Black people refuse to turn off the TV?
No, he was saying something to you.
Oh, I didn't hear him. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, Mama Yah Asantewaa.
Hey, who is this?
This is MK McIndoll.
Hi, MK. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm an educator out here in San Francisco, via Tampa, Florida, actually. And one of the things that you said that kind of caught my mind is the value and putting the value in it. I had a nephew that I never played tennis before, right? Or anything, but I was able to instruct him in tennis just by simply seeing the value and providing him alternatives to be involved and to be involved in activities. So I think, with that being said, I think the idea of money, or we find value in whatever we find value in, right? And there's value still being found in that television. And I guess that's kind of the thing I'm saying, because I don't own a television. I haven't owned one for years. You know what I mean? I don't listen to radio other than my own radio programming, because I don't see value in getting information from our enemies. And I guess that's what I'm kind of speaking to from your expertise. Why do we still see value? Is it because of an economic situation? Or
well, I mentioned that the economic situation of what are we going to do? You know, we're in the house. What are we going to do? But you talked about getting value from getting information from our enemy. First you have to see the enemy. First, you have to know who the enemy is. Many of us don't see white folks as our enemies. We really don't. So when we go to the TV to see them, they even portray themselves falsely. They will show you a family with a father and children, and our kids will look back and say, I wished I had that. When that same person, that same actor that's playing that role goes home and beats his wife. So I think that we find value in the TV because we find value in European culture. I mean, we live in a culture that when we step outside, materialism, this is a capitalistic society. So we don't step outside looking for the beauty in ourselves, the beauty in our communities. We step outside looking for the beauty in European culture. We look for the beauty in their clothing. We look for the beauty in their gold. We look for the beauty in their silver. So you find value in that TV because the TV is showing you, taking you to La La Land and giving you a perspective of what you think you should be. I mean, so oftentimes I watch sisters and they're trying to in interracial dating. And they will want this brother to have the same material or things that they see on TV. They'll come back with, you know, watching Housewives, watching some of that crazy stuff that goes on. And they'll go like, well, unless he can take me. I mean, if I hear that one more time, unless he can take me on a vacation, on a trip, unless he can afford the candy, the flowers, and all of that, then I don't want him. So the value system is now based also on the people who have the money. So we now have women out here basing whether they want to date a man. You ask them what are the criteria, and it's whatever the criteria is that they got off the TV. He has to drive a big fine car. He has to have a certain type of clothes. And all of these images are coming to us through television, through media. And I remembered being with Brother Baruti, and they were talking, we were with the women, and they were talking about what really is love. See, TV also teaches us what is supposed to be love. And it's not like in that, so we think that it's Valentine's Day, and this is the kind of stuff that we're getting, but it's not that they don't give gifts and presents in Africa. Some people feel that it's not African. Oh yeah, you go to Africa and you may have been, and you can ask the brother for the shirt off his back and he'll give it to you. For the bracelet on his arm, because they're into gifting too, but it's a whole nother type of gifting. You can hardly leave there without somebody giving you something. So it's not the idea that you're being given. It's just that this machine that we look at, this media that we watch on TV has taught us to have European expectations, not just for the men and women in our lives, but for our families. So we get off on that because we live in a capitalistic world, and when they watch TV, they see the world that they leave their house and go off into.
Thank you for that response. And one more thing, I know I'm eating up all your time, but thank you. One of the things that you reminded me of when I went to Africa for the first time, I've been to Jamaica, I've been to Haiti before, so I've been to some Black nations before, but when I was in Ghana, it hit me. I came face to face with my own color consciousness, with realizing I'm a very dark-skinned brother, and realizing how Black everything was. It made me step back and to say that this is how it's supposed to be. This is a form of normality, because you don't realize how inundated with a white world we live in the hells of America, until you come to something different.
Yeah.
And it was even more startling, like I said, than I was in the Caribbean when I was in Ghana, or even when I was in Kenya.
You know, one of the things that I used to say is, I've always, I thought there should be two things we should be able to sue this country for, and that's our color, stealing our richness, our Blackness from us, and also not have to, if you want your name changed, you should not have to go through their legal system to do it. But the color thing has always been like, for me, when I go to Africa and I see the dark, rich colors, and there are some parts of Africa where people aren't as dark. It's like my favorite place is going to Senegal. But one of the things I had to finally accept, because I was so angry about the whole color thing, one of the things I had to finally accept is, I had a teacher when I went to Central State University, all Black university. She walked in the classroom and she looked at us and she said, Black people are like a beautiful flower garden. We come in so many pretty colors. So I think that that's something that we have to, I know I had to back off from wanting to be as dark as one of my girlfriends or one of the male friends, and being very, very angry about the process. But what we do have to do now is understand that them light-skinned brothers and sisters, if they brothers and sisters and they're Africans, that's what they are, regardless of color. But I can see when I first started going, I was just like really understanding what was taken away from us, but we can't let that separate us on any level whatsoever. There's a question here. How should we hold artists accountable for the work they produce, particularly work that impacts our children? We call them on it. We call them on it. We first of all, if they're doing work that we know is negative, then we must boycott that station, boycott that play, boycott that actor, and let that actor know there's a price to pay, because many of these negative films are all Black films. A lot of them are just Black films that Black people are taking roles in. So we have to not act like we are helpless in what goes up on that screen. Because I'm gonna tell you, those actors are about money. I'm in that business. Many of them. There are some that are not. So if you're an actor out there and the shoe don't fit, don't squeeze your foot into it. But many of them are about money. You stop that flow of money, because all Hollywood cares about is when they make those films, they say, okay, we're gonna get a bunch of Black people to come. We're gonna have a bunch of Black people bring their kids. Listen, when that film bombs, so does that actor. He doesn't get the attention that he or she wanted. So we have to stop accepting it. We cannot keep lining up at the movie to see negative films. I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, would you tell me what part of it I didn't do a good job on? Okay, someone has here solutions. Stop consuming media entertainment without critical analysis and reference to the mark. Ashe, I think that came from Takara. That came from Taharki. Okay. Sankara. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and that's true. And I mean, the person has stop in capital letters. You have to stop consuming. This is a capitalistic society, folks. It's all about money. It's all about whatever is going to make money. And we control a lot of that, especially when it comes to going to the movies and what we are watching on TV. Anything else up there? I got 5 more minutes. Can you scroll? Let me scroll down and see if there's another comment. Go up to see if there's another. Let's go up some. Okay. Someone questioned, just look at Michael Jackson's children. That's coming from you, MK, correct? Are you still with us, MK? Is he still with us? He may not be with us. I'm not sure. Okay, so when it's just look at Michael Jackson's children. Well, I mean, are those Michael Jackson's children? Who knows who those kids belong to? I mean, I can't even look at them as Michael Jackson's children because I don't know who those kids are. But I think we need to look at Michael Jackson as to the importance how important it was to him to become white by any means necessary. So,
I'm sorry, Ma Asantewaa. I missed. Oh, another thing. When I was in Ghana, I saw the image, wax figure of Mama Asantewaa, and she was the smallest person I've ever seen in my life. She was reminding me of my grandmother, who's like really tiny as well. But you know, that warrior spirit comes from the mother, and size doesn't matter, especially when it comes from the mama.
And brother, one of the things that people have to understand is she was, from what I understand, in her 60s, early 60s, when she went out and fought the British and fought over the Golden Stool. So yeah, I mean, I've gone to like the museum where she was. I've been to her gravesite, but you know, it doesn't take. That's another, Euro thing. You don't have to be 6'5" to be great. You can be 5'2". You can be 4 feet 5. You don't have to be 6'5" to be great. And that's another thing that they're giving us as images. Was there something on here that I needed to? Nothing new, just other comments. Okay. So yeah, if no one else has any, slow down just for a second, has anything, I would like to emphasize again, I would like to emphasize again that there is the movie Watch Rabbit Proof Fence, because that's going to tell you what's going on today, and just don't be blinded by what's going on out in the world with all this. It's not gentrification, it's ethnic cleansing, really. They're trying to cleanse out Black people from these neighborhoods, and don't become a part of it by allowing them to rent from you, to move into your neighborhoods, by selling them Europeans, white folks, your businesses. We can become our own worst enemy when it comes to them taking control over our lives, our communities, and what we do. So if there are no other questions, I want to thank those of you who have joined in. I didn't even put up where I can be reached. I didn't make a slide with that. Is it there?
I'll put it into the chat.
So I will say this, that I'm on Facebook under Asantewaa Nzingha. I'm also on Instagram under Asantewaa 14 and under Nzingha. Ya Nzingha. So those are the places where you can basically reach me. I'll be very honest, I'm on my Facebook page more than anything. So if you go to Ya Asantewaa Nzingha, there's a number of Ya Asantewaas on there. So I'm on my Facebook page often, and you can make contact with me there. I'm typing in some information now. Well, actually, I'm not doing it. My assistant is doing it, and I want to thank Natasha for not only helping me, but she helps so many people in the community. She's a young sister, 30 and the early 30, and she's just really a gem. And that's the other thing about our young people. Don't let people talk down about our young people. I often tell people, if you don't know any good Black youth, then you're around the wrong youth. They're all over the place. So I think it's, I'm signing out. I enjoyed it. And I hope that we will be able to communicate again. There's so much on this topic for us to learn, but the most powerful thing is not to drink the Kool-Aid of deception. More power to you.
Let's unmute and give Mama Ya a strong black hand. Let's go. Make some noise. Unmute.
Black power, baby for Hodie.
A baby for Hodie, Mama Ya Asantewaa.
Baby for Hodie, Mama.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sis.
Baby for Hodie. Baby for Hodie.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Africans. I'm heading over to the general session to back to the basics. I'll be playing some music. Sister Nayaba, who's here, will be on at 6 o'clock. So I'll see you then. Peace and Black Power.
Peace and Black Power, family.
Okay.
Black Power.
Black Power.
Doc shotgun. Buck front. Yeah. Shot. Intro to O. And my dude that Timbuktu to Ave. For new, renew your passion. Shun the condition. And not the who, what, when, where, and you are from. At last. Put the higher